No, somebody spilled them.
He's being dumb.
Could have done a better job. Plethora.
Whoa.
Wow.
I just saw that. I was like, it's a stink bug. There you go. He's leaving. Original. There you go. He's also original. Grabbing all these are.
So everyone should be ordering original right now.
Yeah. Bunch of butlers are about to be made right now. Like these.
These are them, I think.
Yeah, these are them. Huh?
These are them.
Yeah. These are the butlers that they're making right now. We gotta see that these are them.
Well, I used to do this anyway. That's small. I know, if it's, these are the ones that are small. Are there more made?
Butlers? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's how many small.
How many is that?
I mean, we have like 7 more people. What do we got here?
Butler for myself.
Bada bang, bada boom.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Bada bang, bada boom.
Okay, the habanero just kicked me in. I was thinking about habanero. It's actually kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Man, it's really good.
It's probably too much. Chicken. Yeah, it's really tender.
Is it? Look that way.
That sauce is not too spicy, but there's a little bit of kick to it. Yeah, it's really good.
Worth the wait?
Yeah.
Worth the wait?
Definitely. This one's really good. It's like really refreshing. It's like a little bit of cheese in here.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a mild, relaxing taste. And I don't know, they have some kind of sweet stuff in here that kind of puts it all together. So, it's really good. It's actually kind of sticky. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they put it in foil.
Turn the camera off so you enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to right now.
Oh, that's good.
It's crisper than you want to expect with the smell.
That's a good way to put it too. It's crisper. The fruit taste of the ale is really there. It's very pronounced, but it's not overwhelming, and that's one of the things I like.
Yeah.
There is a downside to Prankster if you're not prepared. It's a downside to almost all Belgian ales, and that's the aftertaste. Now,
that coriander in there, it really
yeah, it will.
It lingers.
The nice thing about Prankster, though, is unlike some of the other ones that we've had, including the beautiful cheerleader with a mustache. I can't figure that out. It doesn't last long, and if it does for you, because everybody's palates are different, it's not bad. It really is not bad.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan of Belgians, but this is good. I personally wish it was a little darker. I personally wish it had a little more flavor. It's very crisp. It's very, very much like you would expect out of a Pilsner. It's good though. It's a very good beer. And the higher alcohol, that's one thing you come to expect with a higher alcohol beer, is it being a little sweet. Yeah. It's not overpowering. And there is that little honey sweetness.
And that's true, because I've had Deschutes where I was completely floored by the sweetness.
Golden Dry. Golden Dry.
Oh,
it was like drinking syrup.
Oh. This won't do that to you. A matter of fact, the best way to tell that, and yes, you have to drink an entire one to get the telltale sign of it's too sweet. If you get the shudder after your last swallow, if you get that same shudder you get when you have cough syrup.
Let's see. No.
No. And that's one more reason why I like this over, even more so than a Chimay or Deschutes or whatever, because you don't get that, ooh.
It's a good crisp finish. You know, that's one thing I really like about it. It's a good, solid, yeah, It's just got good flavor, and it's not overpowering. It's this is a good summer beer. It's good. If it's hot outside, when it's hot, you want something that's crisp and something with some body to it. Like a half. But this is.
But you want something a little bit more than a Miller or.
Okay, look, again, I'm not knocking. I do like Michelob Ultra, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But it's a good, easy to drink beer.
It is.
This is damn tasty. This is really good. I give it 3.5
Out of?
out of 5.
Excellent. It's one of my excuse me. It's one of my favorites. So I will easily put it up there, 4.5 out of 5, because I actually a few days ago craved.
Oh yeah, he's telling me about it.
And that doesn't happen.
Prankster? I can really go for a prankster right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So, one more time, Prankster, Pranqster, Belgian-style golden ale brewed out of the North Coast
Brewing Company. Yeah.
And that's, of course, in Fort Bragg, California. So, find them at your local wine, beer.
Alcohol
You won't find it in the grocery
fulfillment
store.
place. Yeah, well, you might if you maybe like a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, you won't find this like at Albertsons, Smith's, Vaughn's, Lucky's, something like that, Kroger. But good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's our beer review. Don't we have something else to show them?
Oh. That's our beer review. I think we're yeah. So you're watching Spankwagon, Spankwagon.net, and here, watch something else we've done.
Think bitches. Give me a list of the roles you play, kind of top down for FSW.
How long is this interview?
Just bullet point it.
Okay. Well, to start off, I am the co-owner. My partner is Rocky T. As the co-owner, he's more of the financial guy. So he allows me to do everything I want to do. So it isn't like, oh, well, you do all the work. Well, I want to do all the work, and I would have did all the work by myself, but I couldn't afford to do it. So Rocky allows me the opportunity to pretty much run things the way I do, no questions asked. I bring in whoever I want to bring in. I get rid of whoever I want to get rid of. Obviously, we had some incidents where a couple of guys no-showed that came out of Phoenix, Gallo and Nykirk, and kind of blew it off. And we'd gotten along very well, and they'd been good to us in the past. But a couple of their other guys that were younger decided to pull some no-shows the last minute. So, or a couple days before, and had excuses or whatever. And Modest, our head trainer, Mike Modest, and Rocky felt that we shouldn't bring him back. So that was about the only situation where I thought, maybe we can use Castellucci or Tyson Tyler, who we had known pretty well, and give him another shot. But they felt, you know what? They screwed us over. They're done. No problem. But other than that, I make pretty much every decision. I write all the shows. I guess you could say I'm the executive producer of the TV show. Our guy Ryan, he's been doing a lot of the editing for us now, and we put all that together. What don't I do? I'm the guy who you'll see at Samstown handing out the flyers. Sometimes it's with my son, sometimes it's with a few of the students, and sometimes it isn't. But I'm the guy you'll be seeing. I don't do telephone poles, I do the electrical poles, because you can get the bigger posters. So you'll see 20 or 30 of those spread around all the main intersections in town. I'll put them up. I'll contact, whatever media outlet we're looking to get on. If we're going to be on Cox Cable or MyLV TV or whatever, I handle that too. So, it's I have to think, because if there's 1,000 things to do, I'm probably doing 950 of them. And I've learned that if you're going to if you want it done right, obviously, you hear that saying all the time, but that's the bottom line. I don't trust anybody to do what I want done the way I want it done. And until I do, then maybe I won't have to go to Samstown and hand out the flyers, because, guys are watching the matches. They're wrestling fans. I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm there for business. So they may be sitting in the front, and the show ends, so they've missed 150 people out of the 500 that would have gotten a flyer. Well, I make sure I'm at the door, so when the match ends, if I really care, which I usually don't, because I don't really care anymore, because the pay-per-views are all garbage, but I'll be the first one out the door. That way I don't miss anybody. and I need to make sure it's my company. If it succeeds or fails, it doesn't really affect other people. It affects me. Yeah, obviously if we go broke and we can't afford to keep the school open, they won't have a place to train, but they don't look at it that way. They just look at it as this is a place to train. They want to be wrestlers. So I have to look at it. I handle the day-to-day operations of the school. It's another thing that I do. Wife says I'm here way too much. Probably am. But I have an 8-hour a day job, and then I come here, and we're open 7 days a week. Most wrestling schools aren't. But being that it's in Las Vegas, everybody's got crazy, crazy hours. So if you say, hey, well, we're going to be open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, what happens if your day's off or Saturday, Sunday? Well, that means you'll never train. So then you would never pay to come here, and you can never realize your dream of wanting to be a wrestler. We have it open 7 days a week, and we have the best trainers. I'd put our trainers up with anybody's wrestling schools in the entire country. Between Michael Modest, Rico Constantino from WWE, not that he's a full-time trainer, he's only been here a few times, but when he's here, his knowledge is unparalleled, and he's here. And now we got Mr. Riggs, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Dylan Klein, whatever you like to call him, fresh off being in developmental, supposed to be on NXT, but got tired of every DiBiase getting pushed ahead of him, and the Hennings and the Rotundos, and he just got tired of it and decided, hey, you know what, I'm coming back to Vegas, another R gain. So, our talent pool is unbelievable, and, that's why I strive to continue to work. I finally took a day off on Thanksgiving, and Friday I was supposed to take off, but I was down here making sure stuff for the TV show was getting done because I have my hands in that also. So wherever there's something to be done, I'm in charge.
Got it. Okay. Final question then. It's just after an event at the Silver Nugget. You've worked, a month, probably 2 months in between the last show to this show. The show ran, everything went smooth. You sit down. What's the first thing that goes through your mind?
Well, unfortunately, because of the last show, we had an incident where we had a TLC match, possibly the craziest match ever in Las Vegas. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Unfortunately, a chair got thrown at the ring apron where one of the guys were, and it deflected into the crowd and hit a girl. Well, unfortunately, it really brought the crowd down. Fortunately, the girl was fine. All she wanted to do was hit one of the commandos who threw the chair. She wanted to hit them in the head and know how it felt. So she got to do 2 chair shots to their bloody heads. And that was fine. Unfortunately, there were some other grown-ups who were far more upset over the incident, which was nothing but an accident. We've probably run between the shows here and there, maybe 10 shows, 11 shows, probably had over 100 matches. And as you know, you've been to many of them. Pretty much 99.9% of everything has gone very smoothly. Never any incidents at the Silver Nugget, but there were some upset people, and that bothers me because some people are going to allow one incident like that gauge what they think of FSW. There was also people that may have never been to any show who were watching the show and saying, wow, this is good, man, I really like this. And then they saw that and say, wow, this was dangerous, and think that maybe, hey, we went overboard. Not that what happened is worse than 1,000 events that ever happened in ECW or CZW or XPW or any of that. But, we pride ourselves in being a family-friendly event where the parents can come and have a good time with their kids. We don't have it where it's totally G-rated like the WWE. We will show blood and we will get a little extreme. But, we want to make sure that the parents are very happy taking their kids to our events. And if any way that has affected them, then that does bother me because the bottom line is we need people at our shows. If there's nobody at our shows, well, then you don't make any money and you can't bring in the top talent that you bring in. So needless to say, that's what I think about. Pretty much wrestling 24/7. I'm at work thinking about the next show. We have one coming up here December 11th. It's going to be one of our house shows. We're trying to make sure we're ready to film for TV out of here. We're going to do some gimmick stuff, a little lethal lottery, a little raw roulette, spin the wheel, make the deal. We're going to try to get the fans involved. We already tried voting on the website, but somebody knew how to rig it. So they got 300 votes in a matter of 10 minutes, yet there was only 80 hits at the time on the website. So, you know, obviously they knew how to delete the cookies and go back on there. So, but the whole idea is to get the fans involved. And, you know, we did a show here for Halloween that went really well. We had almost 150 people in here. So, and then we did a show 3 weeks before that here for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, where we raised $500 for them. So, you know, so we're trying to make a difference. Hey, we're trying to make a few bucks just like everybody else, but, you know, we're also trying to help out, and, you know, we think we're doing a great job, and, you know, I pride myself what we're doing, and I think I'll put my wrestling federation up against anybody's and say our talent's as good as yours. You know, prove me wrong. You know, WWE may have better talent, but they don't utilize it. And, you know, we've got guys that have come and gone, and you know, when I look back to when we first started in May 2009, and we had the Young Bucks, and we had the Cutler brothers, and we had Mike Modest and Kenny King and Derek Nykirk and GQ Gallo, and said, wow, man, this is, what a roster. And now we fast forward, and we're now a year and a half later, and we did take a 6-month sabbatical, basically, because we had no venue till we found the Silver Nugget. So we've really, this business has not even been a year old. So in a year, we have taken from running shows to running a school to having a TV show, and now our roster features probably a half a dozen guys who've been through the system of the WWE or WCW or wrestling all over. You know, at our last show, we brought in 2 new guys, Brian Cage and Dylan Klein, who is locally known as Johnny Riggs, so the Riggs Brothers or Johnny Rage or whatever you want. You know, he's had about 700 different monikers. But to go along with Kenny King, who's a Ring of Honor star, Franco D'Angelo, trained by Booker T, he's come all the way out, drives himself out from Dallas, Texas to be a part of FSW. The Memphis Mofo, he's had some injuries, he broke a clavicle. He came out for the Broadcasters Convention to ask if we can work the show. We liked what we saw. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, I'd love to come out here on my own dime. This guy flies himself out from Virginia. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to the last couple of times. But his response is, pay me whatever you can, because I love to be a part of FSW. And that's the kind of talent we got. And the locker room's full of great guys that, you know, nobody's trying to stab each other in the back. And we have a good locker room. Everybody seems to get along. You know, in that TLC match, you would have thought everybody hated each other, you know, the violence that was in that match. But those guys are best friends, you know. And, you know, we strive to get better and better, you know. We need to tweak a few things here and there, but, you know, we hope I'm here for a while.
All right, so this is from Conscious Cravings. It's a seitan wrap. Seitan's actually kind of like this wheat germ stuff. Well, it's basically wheat tofu, and it's supposed to be like kind of thick and heavy, so they'll kind of make like fake pork pull sandwiches out of that, and it's supposed to be like really good and hearty. So anyways, you can see all the vegetables in here. Fortunately, I can't see the seitan, it's probably at the bottom, so let's see what's up. It's really good, really soft, and getting like all the spices in there. First thing it tastes is like lettuce in the wrap, and then it tastes kind of like the probably like some kind of tzatziki sauce or some shit. But yeah, it's really good. I'd recommend it. And actually got this one out early. They're waiting on you know, Rob and Justin's sandwich or wraps, so we'll see what those taste like when they get there.
Yeah, this is the spicy chickpea from who? Conscious Cravings. I'm gonna try it out. Yeah, it's spicy. Yeah, but yeah, I've never had this kind of wrap before, but it's really, really, really good. Look at all that vegetables in there. So it has that bean texture to it. So, alright, I'm going to enjoy this. Get the hell out of my face. Asshole.
So I myself at the Conscious Cravings table. We got the panther tofu, spicy mayo, veggies, of course. So let's give it a spin. Looks delicious. Check that out, people.
Yeah.
Very fresh, let me tell you.
Yeah. I would hope so.
Lovely texture from the tofu. The spicy mayo and the pico definitely adds something to it, so. Yeah, this is really good.
Do you want to enjoy eating it instead of having the camera in your face?
Well, I'm going to enjoy whether or not the camera's in my face or not, but no, I have to say, yes, it's approved.
Yes.
Eat, bitches.
Dixie Carter.
Don't even have anything to say about her. She runs TNA and it puts up all the money, and they lose tons and tons of money. She needs to make some changes and doesn't seem to be willing to do it.
Vince McMahon.
Well, you know, he's the god of wrestling. He makes millions and millions and maybe billions of dollars, but unfortunately, maybe his time has passed because what he is putting out there is not what wrestling fans want to see. Now, maybe the masses do, but I know I'm a wrestling fan and I don't want to see what I see.
Paul Heyman.
Awesome. You know, I actually went to college with Paul Heyman, Westchester Community College, back in 1983. Well, it was a community college, but I was there for about 6 years because I worked at the radio station. And Paul Heyman came through, and he used to actually work the ring crew and help set up the rings at the Westchester County Center, which sat about 2,000 when they would run the B-level shows on, say, a Saturday afternoon. And I always take Paul Heyman's idea of accentuate your strengths and hide your weaknesses, which is one thing Vince McMahon doesn't do. And I try to take what I have and I see what my guy can do and make sure he does it as much as he can, and what he can't do, we don't let him do.
The Divas.
I guess there's a place for them. You know, we're actually working on our own set of divas called the Bombshells. Personally, I like the divas better when they can actually wrestle. You know, nowadays there's so many of them. If you put 10 in a lineup, I wouldn't be able to tell you who one of them was.
Tag team wrestling.
Fantastic. That's what we bring into FSW because it is sorely lacking. For example, the Usos came up, looked like a great team. Now they're getting buried in handicap matches against Mark Henry on Superstars that fortunately nobody's watching. Tag team wrestling doesn't draw a dime. Well, when I grew up, if the Midnight Express were wrestling the Road Warriors or the Rock and Roll Express or the Four Horsemen, that was the headlining event in WCW or NWA back then. If the Hart Foundation was wrestling Demolition or the Rougeaus or the British Bulldogs or anything like that, people paid to see it. People will pay to see tag team wrestling if it's good tag team wrestling. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre is not good tag team wrestling. And, you know, in FSW, we don't have a lot of tag teams, but the ones we have are damn good. Cyanide and Vintage Dragon are excellent. The Commandos are excellent. The Wrecking Crew are excellent. You know, the Young Bucks were excellent. You know, we bring in good tag team matches. Same thing, you know, if you're going to say the next question is managers. You know, if you didn't, I'm going to give you an answer on that one. You know, we have one manager, Dino Dinelli. And Dino Dinelli is unbelievable. You know, generally you like to put a manager with a guy who can't speak very well. We have him in with the guy who's, I guarantee you, one of the best talkers you'll ever see in this business, Mike Modest. But they work so well together that the other guys in the Wrecking Crew don't really have to talk very much. And the fact of the matter is, a great manager is always going to help a guy. Maybe a guy like Vladimir Kozlov would have gotten over if he had Bobby Heenan as his manager. You know, maybe Chris Masters would have got over if he had a real manager who could actually talk for him. You know, nowadays, they let you talk, they give you a script, and then when you say, yeah, but you didn't really get over, it's your fault that maybe the script sucked. You know, bottom line is, you know, all these things that Vince McMahon doesn't like anymore were all the things that made him money, and huge money back in the day. Because Bobby Heenan made him money. Jimmy Hart made him money. You know, Jesse Ventura as the heel announcer made him money. You know, the tag teams, the Hart Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart wouldn't even be able to wrestle an independent show today, like he still can, if he was just Jim the Anvil Neidhart back in the day. But he was part of the Hart Foundation. All those guys became stars, and even a Marty Jannetty could still get booked. You know, all the, you know, the tag teams and the managers, you know, they were, other than Hogan, those were the guys that drew the money. And nowadays, for some reason, they don't like it. You know, TNA tries, but, you know, Beer Money's great. Like to see Beer Money, Generation Me, the Motor City Machine Guns. But, you know, you can't do the pushing up and down, up and down. It's the same thing with the heel turns and the face turns. The one thing that disgusts me is the fact that I love The Miz, and I'm telling you, I couldn't stand him when I first saw him, but The Miz was a guy who was a tag team with John Morrison, and John Morrison was awesome. Why is he stuck with The Miz? Okay, that's fine, you stick him with The Miz. I guess they kind of got over in ECW. Well, The Miz, after they got drafted apart from each other, goes to shake his hand and turn on him. So that made Miz the heel, but somehow it made John Morrison a face. And I'm supposed to root for John Morrison because he was stupid enough to let The Miz kick him in the gut and then drop him in his finisher. Back in the day, you would get over as a face because you did something heroic, you did something good. And that's part of the other thing when we run FSW. I'm not going to make somebody turn good because a guy just turned bad on him. You know, there's no sense to that. You know, we're supposed to suspend belief. Well, unfortunately, the WWE doesn't allow you to do that anymore. So come to see FSW and go to futurestarsofwrestling.com and find out more information and check out what you're missing, because it's the best wrestling you're going to see anywhere on the West Coast or Southwest, wherever we're at.
One more.
Okay.
When someone says the champion, who do you instantly think of?
I usually think of John Cena, because he always has to have the belt, as pathetic as he may be. Now, maybe in great shape, great loyalty, whatever. You know, we can go on for hours about how they ruined that whole Nexus angle, where they brought in guys that are greener than green and can't work, but actually did get him over and then buried him as quick as they got him over. You know, when I think of the champ, it's hard to think of in the WWE because there's two champs. And, you know, SmackDown, who's the champ now? Kane. Okay, Kane's a champ. Fantastic. Now in the WWE, The Miz is finally the champ. And, you know, it's great to see. And I heard a response by Kevin Nash where he says, well, WWE exposed the business because The Miz is the champ. As if when he was the champ, he didn't expose the business. You know, wrestling is, we know what it is. And a guy like The Miz is a perfect guy to have the belt right now. And I guess he would be the guy who I would consider the champ. I wouldn't consider Kane the champ because nobody watches SmackDown, so I guess the Raw champ is the winner.
How you doing, everybody? This is Joe DeFalco, owner of Future Stars of Wrestling. Check us out on MyLV every Friday night at 1 a.m. or check us out on the website www.futurestarsofwrestling.com.
Ask him, Murph. He's tough. He's just so tough.
Guys, the ref in that ring, you may recognize him. That's Mike Toomey, former WWF referee. I mean, they got everything here at FSW. Check it out.
Back him up, Brett. All right, let's start counting. Okay, folks, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, get off the ropes. Back him up, Brett. Come on. I gotta tell you that, man. You're going out neutral. What's the deal there, huh? Get inside here, let's go.
So guys, just got out of the first ever Gypsy Picnic. Pretty awesome. Still inviting Gypsy, or Gypsies for that matter. But it was very enjoyable, and the amount of people and the fact that some places sold out of food completely, I think we can say this really was a success. So hopefully it'll be here next year as well. So, Drew, what were your favorite parts of Gypsy Picnic?
My favorite part was eating. I'm a really big fan of food. I like food.
I think everybody is.
Yeah, but the only thing is, like, we were talking about it, it seems like they were slightly unprepared. There were a lot of people, probably a lot more than they expected to show up. And the lines were long, but that's actually kind of part of the fun, just kind of hanging out with people. And there was a stage with music, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just saw one great example of a great way to pass our time in line, and I was watching all hot things going on. But no, the food was really good. I mean, everybody has this idea that trailer truck food is like nasty, you get sick, whatever. No, it's bullshit. It's good. You have a lot of thoughtful people, putting their heart into this industry and find some wonderful stuff. This is a great example. So if you ever see one, suck it up and go get food. It's probably going to be good. So, any last thoughts from you?
Well, for next year, I think they should probably get more food. And for people who go here, definitely kind of bring your own water. It was $2 for a bottle of water.
Yeah, it was funny. The food was cheap, the beer was not.
Yeah, the beer was like $6 for like.
A tall boy. God.
And also. Have an allergy test because we found out that Rob is definitely allergic to
I've been
dust.
sneezing my ass off for like the last half of this day. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, even I was sneezing. I'm not anywhere near as much as he was.
Yeah.
I can still breathe.
Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, this asshole still has clear sinuses.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you. Yeah. Basically, anything you do for a regular festival, plan ahead for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we'll see you next year if we're going to be here.
Oh, yeah. So, for Spankwagon, I'm Robert Lickstore.
And I am Brew. Spankwagon.net, right?
.net.
.net.
Eat bitches.
.net. .net.
I guess.
Dude.
What day is it?
No coffee.
I'm going back to bed.
Okay.
I'll wait till you on Thursday.
All right.